friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here today to talk about, is it really complicated to do things from scratch? Because some people they'll see you do things, making things from scratch and say, oh, that's just too complicated. Now, the most recent one this came in on was on my video about making a perpetual vanilla extract, which I'll link to down below if you're interested in learning. But it is not at all complicated. So this comment really surprised me, because really, if you want to keep it super simple, all you need is a recycled jar, like this jar I'm using right here, a bottle of vodka, rum, bourbon, or whatever your choice is, and some vanilla beans. That's all you need. And then some time. You throw your beans in, your alcohol of choice, or even if you're making an alcohol-free one, your glycerin and water blend, and then you just let it set for several months to a year or more and let it extract. So for as simple as that was, and I do mine a little bit differently, so you might want to go check out that video and why it's called a perpetual vanilla extract. But this one right here is cherry, which is just as simple to make. And I use dried cherries for that. When I got to thinking about it, even though that comment surprised me initially, I realized that a lot of times when people are coming in new to these things and they see other people that have been doing this stuff for a long time, and they realize, well, I don't have these cute little bottles to store my vanilla extract in, and I don't have any jars because I've never done any canning to make my extract in, or I don't have jugs and bottles for making homemade wines and then storing them. I don't have a dehydrator for putting up foods like this, and it's just so much easier to go down to the store and buy these things. And so there's a few things I wanted to cover and why someone would go through the trouble of making things from scratch for those people who are new, and just to give you some things to think about. So really, in the long run, once you're set up with some of this stuff, you're actually making things far less complicated down the road, because I very rarely ever need to go to the store. And even if I do need anything from the store or need any, I usually have stuff delivered, or Patrick goes and picks it up at the store for me. And as busy as I am, that's really nice. It saves me a lot of time to know that I have enough vanilla beans and everything I need to have vanilla extract to probably last me the rest of my life. I should never have to go to the store to need vanilla extract again. And same thing goes with many of the other products I make. Wine making, always, to a lot of people, they think it sounds so complicated. It's actually one of the easiest things you can do. It takes time, yes, but as far as getting it going and all that, it's super simple. I have a video series just on wine making. And so that's what you see right here. This is my own homemade wine from my own homegrown grapes. So not only am I making things less complicated by making a lot of this stuff myself, one thing you'll learn when you start making your own vanilla extract, making your own homemade wine, making your own natural soda, like I got going on here, fermented probiotic soda that's ready to go in the fridge because it's been fermenting for a few days. And this is hibiscus and orange peel. Or making your own homemade vinegars like I have going here and back over there. Or even your own homemade medicinal extracts like I have here. This one's actually an oxymel, so it's totally alcohol free. It's made with vinegar and honey. So easy to do. I have videos on many of these things. I just came out with a new vinegar making video. I just came out with a video on making an oxymel and other ways that you can make non-alcoholic extracts even for flavoring. And so much more. And one of the things I've covered in another similar video to this is that I think part of what gets people too is that not only do they might not have all the equipment needed to make certain things, which usually for a lot of things isn't really that much. It is good to have jars on hand, but they don't think about the fact that just like with this jar here, which is a recycled pickle jar, you can recycle jars. If you're already buying some of this stuff, just start saving up your jars. Wash them out good, let them air out good, so you get all the scent and flavor out of there, and then you can use it for making vinegar, making soda, and even wine making. Those jugs are better for wine making. I know people that have made wine in jars. You still have to get an airlock, but airlocks are only a couple of dollars a piece. So the equipment thing and buying the stuff, that kind of holds people up. But once you have it, you have it. You don't have to keep buying it. And then the other thing is just, wow, that's so much to learn. There's so many different things to learn when you start kind of heading down a more self-sufficient DIY type lifestyle. Well, the thing is, don't look at it as you got to learn how to make bread from scratch, vanilla extract, wine, dehydrate everything, make vinegar, sew your own clothes, sew your own table napkins or anything else. You don't have to do all that at once. All you have to do is pick one thing. Pick the one thing you really want to learn how to do first. Once you do that and you get to a point where it's like, okay, I feel pretty good about the product I have here. And now it's actually a super easy thing. And because I'm well stocked on flours and stuff, it doesn't take me long just to throw some bread together or some biscuits or some cookies or whatever it is. But regardless, just like with making the vanilla extract, just like you have to have the vanilla beans on hand, and in my case, I like using mostly spiced rum with raw honey, I have to have those things on hand. But once you have those things on hand, you have to, when you're baking from scratch or when you're sewing things, you have to have the fabric and the thread and the other things to be able to put this stuff together. It's no different. So you got to kind of look at the whole broad picture. A lot of people already know about making breads and cookies and cakes and meals from scratch, and know that they have to have the yeast or the baking powder, or using at least like I do, I keep a jar of baking soda and a jar of cream of tartar and mix them together when I need them for making a baking powder. But once you have this stuff, you just do it. I don't have to run down to the store and buy chocolate chips and oats and all that if I need to. If I just have a sudden desire to make my cowboy cookies for some kind of gathering that we're having, and that's what I decide. I don't have to go to the store. I already got that stuff on hand. It's not complicated. I already know how to do it. Another video I did is don't focus on what you can't do, focus on what you can, because sometimes it's the very mentality of, well, I can't do that. It's just too much. Well, how does anybody get anywhere? They have to start somewhere. They have to learn. I mean, we're not born automatically knowing how to do all of these things. We learn as we go. And I think when people look at someone who's been doing a lot, who already is doing a lot of this stuff, they think, wow, how did they learn all that? I can't do all of that. Well, it's not like we learned all this stuff overnight. We started with one thing at a time. We started with learning how to bake bread, make cookies, make extract, make wine, make vinegar. We just kept adding on to that. And I still have a lot of things I can learn how to do. There's not one person that has it all figured out, but the more you do this stuff, the more it starts to become second nature, and it gets easier, and it's not at all complicated. And as I said earlier in the video, the one thing about learning how to do this stuff for yourself is not only are you getting a healthier and better tasting product, it makes things so much less complicated down the road. It's one of the points on preparedness that I would like to see people focus on more when they're trying to encourage people getting into preparedness, rather than always focusing on the fear and the doom and the gloom and the scary stuff. And yes, those things can and do happen. I mean, we've become an island before where the trucks couldn't get into the store, so being prepared was really nice when the bread and the milk and all this stuff was being wiped out from the shelves at our local store. But it's more than just that. One of the big things that I love, this is what got me into food storage in the first place, and learning how to do more and more things from scratch besides just wanting to know how to do it and liking the fact I can make it myself and make it better and make it healthier. It was not only can I either grow the stuff myself or stock up on the things while they're on sale or buy in bulk, so I'm saving money, I'm also saving myself this massive hassle of having to run to the store every time I need something. It just makes life so much easier when I can shop from my own store inside my home. And then obviously things like extracts need time, so you want to get on that and let it sit, and you may still have to buy some vanilla extract until yours is ready, because the longer you let it sit, the flavor is going to get better. So, just don't let, because something might appear to be complicated, The part of the reason I do videos like this is to get people to just kind of rethink, reevaluate the whole situation, and realize you don't have to do it exactly the same way I do it or anybody else does it. You know, vanilla extract, people make it, a lot of people make it with just vodka, vanilla beans in any kind of container that they have handy. Some people use different types of solvents. And you don't have to have fancy little bottles. In fact, some of my favorite little bottles are these ones right here. I bought the corks to go with them, but these bottles are all recycled Fever Tree bottles because Misfits Market had some on sale one time. So I was buying a 4-pack of these every so often as just a treat. I would drink it was a ginger soda. And then, once I'd finish off the soda, wash out the bottles, and then recycle for storing. These are actually different oils. I have some that I've actually given people my homemade vanilla extract in bottles like these, and so much more. You can just recycle bottles, and these are cute. I think that I kind of like the looks of them better than these even. And the corks are really cheap. You can get them from your local store. And again, just like with this soda or making vinegar, though I have a half-gallon canning jar here for this vinegar, this is just a recycled jar. I use recycled jars quite often. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of fancy stuff to do some of these things. Oh, and this bottle here of wine, this is a recycled bottle too, an avocado oil bottle. And so you wash it out really good, and then you can store your wine in it. It's really that simple. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. I think when people say, oh, that's just too complicated, having to go buy this, that, and the other thing, I think that's what they're thinking of, not just the actual making of the things. Because, like, again, extracts, whether they be medicinal or for flavoring, super easy to make. Do you have to have the herbs or the whatever's on hand to do it? Oh, yeah, of course. There's a little more involved than going down to the store and buying vanilla extract and going to the store and buying or ordering online vanilla beans and getting some kind of alcohol on hand or glycerin to make your extract with. There's a little more involved there. In fact, most of my grocery shopping happens online because I get stuff through ButcherBox, Misfits Market, and Vitacost. And sometimes Costco. So we rarely actually have to go to the store for much of anything. Anyway, I hope this kind of helps give people an idea, kind of encourages people again. I do realize there's people out there that just want excuses to not have to do things for themselves because they'd rather just take the easy way out. And I get that. We all do that with certain things. But we also have to kind of evaluate the whole thing and realize, long term, you're making your life less complicated. You can be saving a lot of money. You can be making things for better. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And you realize, wow, that only took me a minute to do. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share your thoughts, ideas, anything you learned to do that you find that might have been complicated to get started on. But in the long run, it has really benefited you in one way or the other. Please share those in comments down below so people can read through that and be encouraged by you as well. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.